Who of us does not want to improve upon our speaking skills? You probably know this already, but fear of speaking is one of the top 3 greatest fears that people have. PowerPoint Speaker Coach is an artificial intelligence feature, and I'm going to take you through a quick overview of it. And I think you're going to like it. If you've never used it before, it's going to give you a chance to rehearse your presentation by using PowerPoint Speaker Coach. So let's get started. It's going to be quick, and I think you're going to appreciate it. I'm Donna Gilliland, and I'm going to take you through this tour, and then hopefully by the time that you finish this, you'll go back and implement it. I think you're going to like it. Personally, I love it. I am a professional speaker of almost 30 years, and I think that no matter how many years that you've been professionally speaking, we need to polish from time to time. And even if you're not a professional speaker, either way, you need to be able to practice and to get feedback. And now's your chance to do that with this feature. A few things first, and that is, again, Speaker Coach is an Office 365 artificial intelligence feature. It's been around for a little while now, and I think the reason why it's been overlooked by many is because in the initial run of this tool, it was only available in the PowerPoint on the web for Office 365, but now it's available across all platforms, and it's also within Microsoft Teams. And you'll find out in a moment why you would want to use the web version of it versus the desktop version. Speaker Coach is going to help you prepare in private to give more effective presentations. You'll get to find out privately how well you're doing or not doing in your pace, your pitch. Are you using culturally insensitive terms? Are you being too wordy? Are you reading from the slide? Are you using too many, like I said, are you using too many words? Now, here's what Speaker Coach evaluates and scores for. It will listen to you once you turn on Speaker Coach and you begin to speak and go through your slides. It's listening. And it's listening for your pace, pitch, filler words. I think we all have to continue to work on filler words all the time. I still have a few myself that after all these years I have to work on. But it's nice to be able to get feedback and from Coach that tells you. Euphemisms, it listens for culturally sensitive terms, and even reading from the slide. Now what you're seeing on the right hand side is an image from Microsoft Office, and it's showing you the rehearsal report. I always call it a score report because you are getting scored on different areas, but it is a rehearsal report, and I'll talk more about that report in just a moment. Now, as far as PowerPoint for the web goes, even though now we can use Speaker Coach, we can use it from within the desktop version, the web version of it, and you would need to log into your Office 365 account and be using PowerPoint on the web. Now, on the web version, you have everything you have at desktop level, but the web version has 3 new critique categories that you don't have in the desktop version. You have body language. For example, if you want to be critiqued for how well you're making eye contact with the camera, then the body language feature, when turned on, it's going to connect to your camera, and you're going to then, as you speak, it's going to assess for how well you're doing in your virtual presentation. Because not only do our words in a presentation have impact, but so does our body language. Are we making good eye contact? Are we the right distance from the camera? Are we too close? That's just a sample of the areas that this AI tool is going to watch for. The second category is repetitive language. But when you speak, you use words and phrases. You might use words and phrases repetitively without even being aware that's what you're doing. And you might not notice it, but your audience will, and they might find that distracting. So it's going to listen for repetitive language and come back in the rehearsal report and tell you what that was. The third one is on pronunciation. Speaker coach will advise you about the correct pronunciation of words that you're speaking throughout your rehearsal. It will display those words, and then it'll provide a way for you to practice pronouncing that word or words. Now, I like just going ahead into PowerPoint for the web and using it because I've got all the features I do at the desktop level, and I have these three. And since I do speak online a lot, this one's very, very helpful. Of course, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be speaking online to benefit from these. Even when we stand before a live audience, body language and eye contact still applies. So does repetitive language, so does pronunciation. Therefore, you might want to start at the web level. This is how the score report is going to look. Now, it doesn't have these three blocks you're seeing on the left. Microsoft has put these up as additional insight to how this report works. But when the rehearsal report comes back, there are three columns of information. It starts by giving you a summary. For example, if you've done a good job, it'll tell you you've done a great job overall. It will then tell you how much time you took to deliver your presentation over however many slides you were using. If you were using 12 slides and you used all those during the rehearsal, it will say you used 12 slides, here's how much time that you took across that entire presentation. It will then score you on sensitive phrases. The green check mark is saying, hey, you did a good job not using sensitive phrases, or if you did, in this excerpt on the left that Microsoft put here, sensitive phrases. If it thinks you did a good job overall, it will tell you that on the sensitive phrases, and then it'll give you additional insight. That's what I like about the scoring report, the rehearsal report. I like it because it doesn't just say if you didn't do a good job with something. It doesn't just say, well, you need to work on this. It tells you why. It gives you additional insight so that you know what to do to go back and improve upon that area. Now, in this sample, in this practice run that was being done for simulation, the term best man for the job was used. That was the phrase that was used. And then the person's flagged on this, saying you used a sensitive phrase. Here's the sensitive phrase, and it might be culturally sensitive in some cases. So let's go ahead and go over how you're going to get started with this tool from within the desktop version, and then from the PowerPoint on the web version. So you can see how it works. I'm in desktop version of Office 365 PowerPoint. And then you would get to the point where you wanted to start your presentation. Typically, you're starting from the beginning, but if there's one specific slide you wanted to rehearse on that you've been stumbling on, then you could have that slide open and run coach on just the one slide. Here's how it works. You're going to slideshow on the ribbon. Once you are there, from the left-hand side, you have Start Slideshow. To the right of that is a group that says Rehearse. There's only one tool there, and it's Rehearse with Coach. After clicking, the slide you are on, and I chose just one to be on, but you would start from the beginning. The slide is up and ready for you to start, but in the bottom right, you have a box that says Welcome. It tells you that here that you can start rehearsing, but it also says below Welcome, It says see live feedback as you rehearse. There's a feature below the button start rehearsing. There's a button that says there is an option that says show real-time feedback, and there's a check mark there. What that means is when you click start recording, as you do your presentation, as you speak through it, if there, for example, you had said a culturally sensitive term or phrase, it would pop up in the lower right and tell you that. Now, you might find that distracting, and you might rather get your prompts, your rehearsal report in the end and find out. I would encourage you to try it out both ways. Now, for me personally, I find it distracting to be interrupted in my flow. I would rather just have my rehearsal report at the end, but that's my personal preference. I encourage you to go ahead and leave it on for show real time, run through your presentation and see what you think about about receiving a pop-up that tells you what you need to work on. Now, in my case, I'm going to just go ahead and turn off show real-time feedback, and because I already know how it works, and then I start rehearsing. Once you start rehearsing, the box in the right says listening, and there's this flashing microphone in that box. And as I'm talking now, it's listening to what I have to say. And as it listens, you'll just keep going, and when you are ready to dismiss this, you can press the escape key and the rehearsal report will appear. Also, Microsoft says that you need at least 1 to 2 minutes talking for the score, for the rehearsal report to come back and score you effectively. I'm going to go ahead and press escape, and in a moment, a score report comes up, but it is titled your rehearsal report. And it does tell you just beneath that, it says rehearse for more than 1 minute for coach to better understand your speech and give recommendations. There will always be 3 columns of information, and it starts on the left by giving you a summary. And in this case, it's saying, good job rehearsing, keep up the hard work. It will tell you how much your total time is, how many slides that you have rehearsed through that presentation. Then it will have an option for fillers. It says, fantastic, you didn't say too many filler words in your speech. Apparently, I said some filler words, but not so many that it felt it would be distracting to my audience. Then it looks at repetitive language. And it says, nice work. Your variety of word choice will help keep your audience engaged. There is a scroll bar on the right. And you scroll on down so you can see more of what's in the box. Here's the one on inclusiveness. It says, great job. Your use of inclusive language was excellent. Then in the middle of this report, you are given feedback on your pace and your average pace over time. Now, notice that there are buttons that say learn more. Maybe you've never been taught specifically about what pace and pitch means when delivering a presentation. Then you can click the learn more button and it will take you to another page, to a website page of Microsoft to give you some education about pace and pitch. That's what those learn more buttons are for. Then at the top right, if you want to rehearse again, then simply click rehearse again and you'll be right back into Coach. I'll go ahead and close this one because I want to show you as the last part of this, the PowerPoint on the web version of Coach. Again, you're going to have these options plus 3 more critique areas by using the web version of PowerPoint Office 365. I've already got mine open in the browser. And so I'm open in the browser now. And in PowerPoint on the web, you will click the slideshow tab just like you do in the desktop version. And the ribbon for slideshow as it relates to the web version. It's up, and there's that option, Rehearse with Coach. And when I click the down arrow for Rehearse with Coach, there's that option for body language. And if I wanted my webcam engaged, then you would select that option, body language. And then as you begin to practice your presentation while coach is listening, not only is it listening, but it is watching. And it is watching for your body language, eye contact, like I mentioned before, distance from the camera, as in terms of, are you too close? Are you too far away? So now it's not only listening, but it's watching. You just have to turn that feature on. And I won't go through this again because it's no different in how I showed you in the desktop version. The only difference here is you've got to include that option to critique you for body language. And because it's the web version, it's going ahead and critiquing you in those other two areas, and one of which is pronunciation. And so there were 3 critique areas on the web version: the body language, the pronunciation. These are things that you want to keep in mind. There were 3 different critique areas, and repetitive language. Now, with that said, that is how you're going to use Coach. And I hope you will. I think it's very helpful. As I said before, I've used Coach for a long time. Even though I'm a professional speaker, this is a helpful tool. And I think I mentioned it early on, but even if you're not doing a business presentation, even if you're not doing that, you might have to speak at something that's on a personal level. As I said before, it could be a wedding, it could be an anniversary party. It's still having to speak publicly, and Coach will help you with those things. So here's my contact information if you want to know more about using PowerPoint to benefit you in design as well as delivery of your presentation. I hope you found this helpful.